Joining me now is the former Prime Minister of Ukraine, Arseniy Yatsenyuk. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Let's start. When you look at the news coming out of the United States, sir, about the Trump administration's alleged ties to Russia, does that give you doubts about America's commitment to Ukraine?
You know what? You just said the Russian-style narrative. This is a disgusting narrative when Russia always accused NATO of practically posing the threat to Russia. The threat to the global world and to the free world is the Russian Federation. They illegally annexed Crimea. They sent their troops to Donetsk and Lugansk in my country. And this is President Putin who committed an international crime. I just came back from D.C. and tried to reach out to the ear of the president, of the newly elected President Trump, and to his close allies, to the new administration. So the way I see it, it's much better than we expected a few months ago.
Okay.
It seems to me that we heavily rely on bipartisan support in the United States. And you know, the GOP stands firm against the Russian aggression, and American people and Canadian people and Ukrainian-Canadian diaspora and your government is very supportive in restoring territorial integrity of Ukraine and in fighting against the Russian-led aggression. You just mentioned NATO summit. The primary goal of my country is to become the NATO member. As for today, Ukrainian military is defending not only territorial integrity of my country, we defend the borders of NATO allies. And I expect that the Ukrainian issue will be raised both at G7 summit and NATO summit, and we heavily rely on your government, on your Prime Minister and on your Foreign Minister to support the Ukrainian people.
So just going back to my original question then, when you see what's coming out of the United States and with Trump and the administration's alleged ties to Russia, does that then give you doubts about the Americans' commitment to Ukraine?
You know what we believe in? We believe in American democracy. We believe in the very strong institutions in the American system. And you've seen the latest developments in the United States. It seems to me that the system of checks and balances is still in place. It is still effective. They started a number of investigations, and a special prosecutor was appointed by the Deputy Chief of Justice of the United States. He's not the Chief of Justice, he's DOJ.
Department of Justice.
Right, Department of Justice. So there is some kind of investigation, but the core politics of the United States is to be the leader of the free world. President Trump is to lead the world. And in current circumstances, your government and your Prime Minister have a chance to become another leader of the free world.
Do you feel that Trump is the leader of the free world then?
I feel that the United States is still the leader of the free world.
Okay. So we were talking about the NATO summit. Russia will undoubtedly be a key topic at the NATO summit. What is your message that you want our Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, to share? What is it when he goes there?
Well, the key message is that Russia posed this threat to the free world and to NATO member states, and mainly to my country. So they invaded Georgia, and the world was deaf to the words of President Putin. And frankly speaking, the problem is after 2008, we didn't draw any kind of lessons that Putin will go further, further, and further. The only language the guy understands is the language of strength and force, the language of unity and staying our ground of democracy, liberty, and freedoms. I have to reiterate once again that the ultimate goal of my country to become the NATO member.
And how confident are you that that could happen?
Look, we are very realistic. This won't happen today or tomorrow morning or during the next summit of NATO. But it will definitely happen. One can say that this is the wishful thinking. Let me remind you that when President Reagan said, tear down this wall, no one believed that this wall will be really teared down. No one believed that Baltic states will become the NATO members, but it happened. No one believed that Poland will be the member of the European Union. It happened. And I commend the role of Canada and your government. And once again, I hope that your government will raise the Ukrainian issue and it will be on the radars of NATO and G7.
So you're hoping that our government, did you ask today that our government would be a middleman when it came to positioning Ukraine, making sure they understand the geopolitical situation there, with the Americans as well as pushing for Ukraine to be a member of NATO?
Absolutely.
That's what your request was?
Absolutely.
And what was the response back from the government? Were they welcoming to that?
I hope that your government fully understands the situation. And your government could be a perfect interlocutor in restoring territorial integrity of Ukraine. What is needed for Ukrainian military to make it more durable and to make Ukrainian military interoperable with the NATO member states? Defensive weapon and combat and train mission, which was launched by your government a few years
Correct.
ago.
And extended to March 2019.
Absolutely, and we commend your men and women in the uniform that train Ukrainian soldiers.
So that was extended to March of 2019, this training mission with our defense women and men in uniform. Do you foresee it needing to go longer than March of 2019?
Absolutely, no doubt. It takes time to make military stronger. And this is another clear sign that Canadian people and the free world supports the Ukrainian people. I do remember when I took the office of the Prime Minister, we didn't have even gasoline for Ukrainian tanks 3 years ago. In the end, for today, Ukrainian military is the only military who is fighting with the Russian regular forces on our soil. We deterred Russians. So we beg for your help, and we got this help, and we believe that this mandate is to be extended and even increased.
Increased. And so increased more than the 200 that we have there currently, and extended past 2019.
Absolutely.
And what type of response did you get from our government?
It's better to ask your government.
Okay.
But I believe that your government is very cooperable and very, very helpful.
Arsenia Yatsenyak, I want to thank you for your time today. It was an interesting discussion.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it. Thank you.